I'm joined today by our good friend of the company, Charesse Spiller, my personal good friend as well. I'm going to give her a moment to go ahead and introduce herself, and then we'll begin.
Yes. Nora, thank you so much. Hello, everyone. I'm someone that really likes to talk in the chat. So if you want to post where you're calling in from, that would be incredible. But I just want to go to my intro slide. So my name is Charisse Spiller. I am the founder and principal consultant of Level Best. I founded the company in 2016. We help advisors streamline and scale their operations through repeatable processes, scalable technology, and team empowerment. Before I started Level Best, I worked at a RIA in the Pittsburgh area, Go Stillers, as a planner. And I also served on the best practice committee there. There were 20 different practice groups within the RIA space, and we just shared, how we all operate. So that was my starting point with operations. In 2023, I saw a gap in the community. I was finding that there weren't a lot of firms that had operators within their companies. And if they did, operators were figuring out solutions on their own. So I launched FinOps Co-op, which is an online community for growth-minded operators in the RIA space to have continuing education and community when it comes to working within the business of the RIA practice. So I'm really excited for today. Nora, do you want me to dive into the topic?
Yes, today we're talking all about automation. I don't know about everyone's experience with automation so far up to today, but hopefully we'll be able to give you some ideas as well.
Today, I'm going to talk to you about automating your client journey without breaking it. So today's agenda, I just want to walk through what I want to cover today. So the first piece is talking about the trap that we fall into. So I'm going to talk about the 4 consistent problems that I see in RIAs that cause problems with automation before you even get started. The second piece I'm going to talk about is the fix. So I'm not going to talk about all the problems without a key solution. So I want to give you a framework that I've walked advisors through. It was on my last slide, but I didn't mention it. I have consulted over 100 RIAs across the country with solving the problems I'm going to talk to you about today. After that, I'm going to walk you through 4 game-changing automations that are happening in the RIA space. And so I want to take your automations from it works to it runs itself, because what I'm finding is that a lot of firms are automating. You're already automating. What we're going to talk about today is how to take that to the next level. Okay. And then the 4th piece is your next step. I don't want you to sit and listen to me talk for an hour without having a game plan to move forward. So that is what I'm going to cover today. If you're ready in the chat, tell me you're ready. Give me a fire emoji, thumbs up, something, just so I can understand that you are ready to get started and dive in. So thank you all. I see all the emojis coming in. Let's get started. All right. So why do most automations fail in the space? So question for you again. How many of you have used a flip phone at all in the past? So if you've used a flip phone, just tell me what flip phone you use, if you remember the year, whatever it may be. I'm going to talk about the flip phone that I've used. So I remember, I want to say early to mid 2000s, I had a Motorola. Oh my gosh, someone said they've never had a flip phone. I appreciate, yes, the Motorola Razor. Yes. So you
Yeah,
all
the hot
know.
pink one.
Let's take a walk down memory lane. The Motorola Razor was everything. If you have never used it, Google it right now. Okay. So it was great. It worked, right? So the thing to think about is, how does this tie into problems that I'm seeing? The problem that I'm seeing is outdated processes are never revisited, and advisors are operating as if Hannah mentioned a flip phone back in 2000, they are operating still like they're in the 2000s. Okay. And so all of those processes work, but right now, we have the iPhone, tons of different things that we can use that's better than the Motorola Razr today. So the first piece with operations is that outdated processes are never revisited. Why is this a problem? Because stale operations kills innovation. And if you're not innovating in your practice, you're hindering your client experience. So you have to think about it. Like if a client is at your firm, you're operating like you're in the early 2000s, when Britney Spears was killing it, we were all on our Motorola Razors, like, but everyone else is, here leveraging AI, using QR codes, things like that. Like that is not good because our clients aren't only working with advisors, they're going out to Target, they're going to Starbucks, they're shopping, they're doing a lot of different things, right? So we have to remember that we have to be innovating. And I think advisors aren't it's not like we're doing it intentionally. It's just hard as a small business, right? Sometimes your operations don't get the love that they deserve, right? So, what I tell advisors is you want to stop treating your operations like a never ending project and treat it as a function of your business. So, that's my first point. Second point, automating only after pain hits is the second problem. So, what do I mean here? Advisors are relying on delegation before automation. So, someone leaves the company. What do? Hire the next person. So, let's say Sally has been managing the firm's operations for the past 15 years and Sally retires, for example. Well, Sally has done everything for the past 15 years, and we're going to keep it the way Sally does it. Well, the problem there is that if you're replacing the role Sally did with time, there may be more ways to automate. For example, scheduling is a big piece to automate. Data collection with Precise FP, we'll talk about that. So when you rely on delegation instead of automation, you're shifting the pain, not fixing it. So that's something to think about there. So, third piece, people don't know where to start, so nothing changes. And so here I have a fast fact: 41% of advisors are still doing administrative work. And where we are today, a lot of administrative work can be automated. Not everything, but most of it can be. And so what happens is your firm gets so overwhelmed, it leads to inaction, analysis paralysis type of situation. And then the final piece I have here, which is really common, the tools are there, but they don't connect. And so what I'm finding is advisors are integrating for integration sakes, like, oh, I want all of these integrations for my technology, but you don't know where to place them. And what I'm seeing, I go in and do technology evaluations for firms, and a lot of advisors already have the tools. It's just taking the time to understand how they work, getting that technology map in place, and then setting up an integration. And so this ties into my other fast fact. 48% of advisors lack integration is their biggest challenge. So we don't want to integrate without purpose. So I want to hear in the chat problems 1, 2, 3, or 4. Give me a 1, 2, 3, or 4. Which problems are you facing in your practice? What resonates with you the most? So I have a 1 and a 4, which is the most common that I see, Cameron, as well. We have a 2 and a 4, a 1, a 2, a 3. Anyone else want to share? Okay, we have another 4. Man, all right. Lots. Number 2 was huge. Oh, great, Grace. I'm happy to hear that you resolved it. Okay, now for those of you that were willing to share the problems that you face, I want to walk you through hopefully some key takeaways that you can take into your practice throughout today's presentation. Um, so what do we do? Sorry, guys, I'm trying to get my mouse together. I want to walk you through a quick framework. How do you make it happen? How do you resolve these problems? Now, I'm going to take you a walk down memory lane again. Or you may be doing this now. How many of you play Monopoly? So when I was a child, it was our game night game. We played Monopoly. I played with my cousins and everyone. So if you have played Monopoly before, you know you cannot pass go without collecting $200. So when I think about operations, I think of operations in 3 steps: streamline, automate, delegate. So with advisors, I find that a lot of advisors want to automate or delegate before they streamline. So what does streamlining mean? That means repeatable processes, getting your systems documented, making your systems repeatable, eliminating the clutter. I say clear the clutter first. So how does Monopoly relate to this? Before you pass go, before you can automate, you need to streamline first. So every time you have a problem in your operations, remember Monopoly. I cannot pass go until I address my streamlining. Streamlining processes are boring. They're not fun, right? You have to bring everything together, get everything documented. It takes a lot of time standardizing your systems. But you can't automate chaos. And so that's why I recommend streamlining before you automate. Because if a process is broken, automation is just making the mess move faster. And if anyone can relate to that, please let me know, because I see it happen all the time where advisors don't trust the process. And so they're afraid to automate. So that's why you have to streamline first. Now, step 2, everyone knows automation, right? I'm sure you all are automating. It's putting those clean processes on autopilot. So your technology is working for you, not against you, which is what I like about automation. So you want to keep that in mind. Now, the third piece, delegation. So this is all of you that are on here. So Jimmy, Laura, Sally, Tammy, Jeremy, Cindy, I'm seeing a ton of names. You all have what I like to call human equity. You have something to offer your clients, right? I don't want you bogged down with manual tasks because those things can be automated. So the delegation bucket is giving ownership, giving that human touch, because everything can't be automated. Some things need judgment, some things need empathy, and that's where delegation comes in. Now, I would love for you guys to keep this in mind: streamline, automate, delegate. You heard from me. If you don't believe me, I want you to not take my word for it, take Bill Gates' word for it. Bill Gates said it best. So I found this quote and it ties in, and I'm telling you, I'm 100% being truthful here. I came up with a streamline, automate, delegate, and then I'm like, you know what? I wonder if anyone thinks this. And I was surprised to see that Bill Gates says the same thing. So what Bill Gates says, I'm just going to read off the slide here. The first rule of any technology used in a business is that automation applied to an efficient operations will magnify the efficiency. The second piece is automation applied to inefficient operations will magnify inefficient operations. So, what does this mean? This means that automation does not fix broken systems, it exposes them. Okay. Another story from you for you. I keep taking you guys back to the past. So when I was a child, I was in the choir. It was called Little Voices of Praise. And so obviously I was a great singer as a kid because I was in the choir, right? But my younger brother was a basketball player. He was not in the choir and he couldn't sing really well. And so if you think about singers, if anyone wants to put in their chat their favorite singers, I'll tie it in. When you think about singers, they have to have a microphone to magnify their voice. So if we hear Elvis Presley, okay, if Elvis is singing, right, we want to hear that magnified, right? But if we have my younger brother with his microphone and he's singing, that's magnifying noise, right? And so when I think about automating a broken system, you're magnifying the noise in your operations. Whereas if you follow the streamline, automate, delegate, and you have a clean process and you automate it, you're magnifying something that flows very well, like Michael's favorite singer, Elvis Presley. Thank you, Michael, for commenting there. So, how's
Yeah,
everyone feeling?
it's like warming up your voice, right? Before you're streamlining.
Yeah, exactly. Yes.
And I agree. I think a lot of the times it's survival, right? Everything's moving so quickly. Things aren't just gonna be put on pause for you to go and implement new things. So for the meantime, you're like, I'll just put this information here,
Yep.
or I'll just do things this way. And you don't really get to stop and think, like, is this the best place to put it? Or is this the best way to do it? And then you kind of just get stuck in that loop of survival without being able to really fix it.
Yeah, absolutely. And we have Donald who is eager to dive in. So shall we keep going?
Yes.
All right. So Donald, upon your request, I want to go into the 4 automations that I see in RIAs. Now, like I said, I'm not going to talk about streamlining, but you know what to do now. If you do not have a streamlined process, if you don't have your systems documented, do that before we automate. But for this presentation, I'm going to focus on the 4 core processes that I think advisors should automate. So, the first piece that I have here is scheduling. So, here with scheduling, this is your checklist when it comes to automation. So, I want to talk about level 1 and level 2. So, I'm sure most of you are using scheduling software. If you want to put in the chat what scheduling software you are currently using, or if you're not using scheduling software, just let me know you're not using it. So what we have here is a checklist. So historically, I would say within the past 5 years, scheduling software has been standard. I do work with some advisors that don't use it. So if you don't use scheduling software, this is kind of going to cover the functionality that you can get from it. So we have routing. And so ways that you can automate scheduling is through routing. So for the routing feature, it's directing clients to the right advisor or the right meeting type. So an example that I have here is in the sales process. So let's say that you want to do screening. So you are asking criteria about the client, and then they get routed to a specific advisor. How this works is if you have an up and coming advisor on your team, they may have your smaller clients based on whatever criteria that is for your firm. And then for your principal advisors or your senior lead advisors, they may get the larger prospects that come in. Or if someone was referred by a specific advisor, they could get routed there. Now, this is foundational automation. So most of you probably already use this functionality. In addition to routing, you can do round robin. Whoever's the first available, they can get routed to that person. Second piece that I have here is reminders and invites. Again, this is another foundation. I just want to talk about all of these so people understand what's available. So if someone books with you, they automatically get reminder emails, they get added to their calendar, the Zoom link gets created, the GoToMeeting gets created. Now, level 2, I'm just looking. So Jess is on G Reminders. So a lot of the level 2 functionality I see in G Reminders, and I'll talk more about that. So data capture. So with your scheduling software, it collects that data for you, right? But you don't want it to sit in your scheduling software. You probably want it to go into your CRM, Wealthbox, Redtail, Salesforce, whatever you guys are using. So what I'm finding is that what advisors do is they set up automations through a tool like Zapier, Power Automate, to get those systems to speak to each other. So someone schedules in Calendly, you want it automatically added into your CRM. You're going to get Zapier to have those two systems speak to each other. Now, Jess is the only person I see that uses G Reminders. With a tool like G Reminders, it's native to the industry. And so G Reminders can automatically have someone book and have that information sync into the CRM without that third party system like Zapier or Power Automate. So this is a level up. I haven't seen that in the industry. The fintech companies that are out there are starting to do deeper integrations with each other. The other piece I have here are workflow triggers. So again, same concept. If you are using something like Calendly and you want to use their workflow features, the scheduling softwares have workflow functionalities where you can send meeting agendas, you can send a form to a client, whatever it may be. You can do that within your scheduling software in an automated way. Now, in addition to this, a tool like G Reminders, or if you're using Zapier to get your systems to speak to each other, you can have workflows kicked off in your CRMs automatically. If someone books a specific event type, for example, client onboarding, and you want your CRM to kick off a workflow for new account opening, that's available. So that's the functionality that you can get when it comes to scheduling. And yes, Courtney, you can embed these calendars into Precise FP, which Precise FP is on my next tab. So with G Reminders, with Zapier, Precise FP is available on both of those tools. So even if you're using Calendly, someone said, oh, Jimmy said Outlook, Calendly, Setmore. So for all of these scheduling tools, you can embed them into Precise FP. So I recommend Precise FP to all of our clients, and I'm very familiar with the platform. And so we use it for prospecting. So if you wanted to use Precise FP to ask questions and then they get routed at the end of the form to a specific scheduling link, you can do that. You can also do custom client communication in Precise FP as well. So we do that for our standard forms for meeting scheduling, which I can talk about here shortly. So I just want to answer Donald's question while we're on this slide. So he asked, what does embedding Calendly into Precise FP mean? So basically, Precise FP has an integration with probably all of the scheduling software. So how it works is if you are building a form in Precise FP, there's a way where you can customize one of the tabs on the form and add your scheduling link. So it's not like a hyperlink. You can actually see the scheduling calendar within the form. So I like to use this feature. Okay, Donald, you said you got it. I like to use this feature for like meeting prep. So it's like when I worked at the RIA I was out at before I consulted, I remember we had a big conversation on what do you do first? Do you collect the data, then schedule the meeting, or do you schedule the meeting, then collect the data? You don't even have to think about that anymore. You can do both within Precise FP at once.
Yeah, and it's great for the clients too, because they're just getting one link and filling out their information and setting an appointment without having to, oh wait, let me pick up the email again and find their, scheduling link. It's all in one link.
Yeah. Okay, perfect. I'm going to keep going, and I hope we have questions at the end. So if you have any questions at the end, just save it if I go too fast. So the next piece is data gathering and meeting preparation. So this is where we do a lot of our recommendations around Precise FP. So let's talk about foundational automations and what is the next level to automate. So digital intake and form. So Precise FP is my pick for this. So with Precise FP, you can do conditional logic for your questions. So for those of you who may be new on the system, I just want to spend some time to talk about what this looks like. So, if you think about a decision tree, so if you ask a question, if someone says yes, you can have it say, yeah, if yes, please explain. If someone says no, you don't have a second box pop open. So there's a lot of information in Precise FP's knowledge base on how the conditional logic functionality works. So this is something that a lot of systems do. Now, I'm assuming you all use Precise FP, but if you're someone who's considering using Precise FP, I recommend using fintech specific data collection software, because now with AI tools within the industry, they are all integrating. It's like fintech has its own ecosystem. So it's really tough. Great, Juliana. I'm glad that I asked and I made that point, because historically, there wasn't a lot of differentiators between all of the different form software, but now fintech has its own ecosystem. So Precise FP integrates with the planning software. It integrates with the AI note takers in the industry. So now they all are doing those automations and integrations for you. And so I think it's good to keep this in mind. Now, the next piece, which is foundational, is secure document collection. So for secure document collection, Precise FP allows your clients to upload information, which is good. So they also integrate with a lot of data collection software. So if you don't want your forms, your client documents to sit in Precise FP, I recommend looking at the integrations page to see. I know like some off the top of my head: Dropbox, Box, OneDrive, I think Ignite. Like there's a lot of different systems that it integrates with. So what does it mean to automate here? So let's say you use Precise FP to collect some documents from your client. What it will do is automatically store those documents in your document management system, and then you can take it and put it into the client's file, which I find is very helpful. So these two are foundational. Now, the next three have a little bit more automation. So data syncing into the CRM and planning software. So in addition to Precise FP, G Reminders is another recommendation here. So Precise FP integrates with Wealthbox, Redtail, and Salesforce. So what this means is if you collect information from your clients in the Precise FP form, you do not have to type it in manually. You can hit export to that form. If you want to level it up, Precise FP is on Zapier. And so once someone completes an engagement, you can have that information automatically sync it to the CRM. There's a lot of mapping that you need to do, but it is possible. Now, with data sync as well. So in addition to Precise FP, a system like G Reminders also syncs into planning software as well. So Precise FP integrates with eMoney, which is a tool, Right Capital as well. So you should not have to manually input data anywhere, which is my point here. So that's the key automation piece. And then we have the checklist and agenda creation. So this is where these next 2 points are AI. So I'm interested, do any of you use AI note takers? And if you do, could you please just let me know which AI note takers you're using and I can talk about it. Okay, Cameron, you use Jump, Zox, Jump, Zox, Jump. First off, you guys are so great. I feel like I wish I was in person to like have this conversation with you guys. It's been awesome.
They are. Our community's great, and they're on it with technology. They're really great.
Yes, I see. So I'm sure you all are aware of this, but so with data gathering and meeting preparation, AI has really changed the game here. So checklist and agenda creation. So what is happening in the industry right now? All of the tools that I see on this list, I'm glad that you guys are using industry specific tools because what's happening for data gathering is that you can ask your AI tool to go to your CRM and ask it questions. What's the last conversation I had with this client? What do I need to put on the agenda? You can ask it these questions. Now, G Reminders is another option. So it does scheduling and it does AI note taking. I just want to throw that in there. But that's a great feature. So that AI ask question linked across all tools, that's what I mean there. So I want to pause. I have two more automations that I want to go over, but is there any questions on data gathering and meeting prep before I continue? Because I know I said a lot for this one. Okay, I'm going to keep going. If any questions come up, I will answer them. Now, the third piece, this has completely changed recently. So this is meeting follow-up. So for meeting follow-up, this is all AI note takers. So for those of you, Laura, you said Jump, Colleen, you're on Jump, Marianne, you said Zox, Justin, you're on Zox. Like for all of you, this is your checklist to see if you're leveraging all of these features. So of course, AI note taking, you want to have your AI note taker in all of your meetings now as a way to capture everything. So you don't need multiple people in a meeting anymore. You can have your AI note taker in it. So, like I mentioned, I run a community of operators called FinOps Co-op, and a lot of the operators in FinOps Co-op don't have to sit in meetings anymore. They're able to get the follow-up done by leveraging the AI note taker. So a lot of the people in the community use the tools that you guys are all mentioning. So that's foundational tool that you can use. Recap creation, firms are struggling with this. So as you all know, when you have your AI note taker, it generates a recap for you. What I recommend for your recap creation is create a template. So what you put into the system, you get out of it. So if you give it a template to follow, it's a little bit easier for it to create standardization. And it can create a summary that you can send directly to your clients. Third piece here, task, capture, and assignment. So this is a reason why you want to use fintech specific AI note takers, because what's happening is they're integrating with fintech specific CRMs. So when you get that summary, you also have a task list that was captured from the conversation. And so what you can do is say add to the CRM that you use, Wealthbox, Redtail, Salesforce, automatically. And you can pick the person that it's assigned to. So that's a great automatic feature for you. And then workflow launch. A lot of these systems allow you to trigger workflows within your CRM. After the conversation, hey, we heard that you said new account opening. Do we need to launch the new account opening workflow in your CRM? So that is a new automation that's available. And then finally, profile updates. So Precise FP has done a great job. I know that you guys integrate with Zox. I'm not sure if you integrate with Jump off the top of my head. Nora, I don't know if you want to comment on that.
Yeah, not right now. We're pending an integration with Jump.
But you integrate with Zox, correct?
Yes, Yeah, Zox and FinMate AI are
Okay.
already established.
Okay. Perfect. And what about G reminders for profile updates?
We do integrate with G reminders.
Okay. So I would double check these integrations, but I know with Zox for sure, um, your Zox can record the meeting and then prompt profile updates, not only in Precise FP, but there's other fintech softwares, which is very different. It'll say, hey, this is the information that we captured. And if you want to update the profile, you can. Now, my final piece on this, you have to trust but verify, right? I'm running this system. It's prompting me to make these changes, but you have to verify that that information is correct.
Yeah, very true. We also just released an integration we're going to talk about soon. It's called FlexTract. FlexTract
Okay.
can extract data from your client's documents, which I thought was really cool. So as clients upload statements, their tax return, things like that, now you can even skip that step of having them input their data. You can just have them upload that statement. FlexTrack could extract it and then send it to Precise FP and then everywhere else.
Okay. All right. So we have some questions here. Which note
Yeah.
taker was recommended? So I would look at all industry specific note takers. Once you do that, make sure they integrate with your CRM because that's the most important thing. Advisors are leveraging the AI note takers to take notes and then send that to your CRM. So I would start there and then make sure you check compliance wise. I know, like for our clients, making sure your data is secure for the systems. And Marianne, so Marianne did find the Zox in integration with Precise FP. So that is perfect. All right. So I have one more automation. Are you guys all still with me before I keep going? All right. So I talked a lot about client servicing in this conversation. I want to talk about prospecting because some advisory firms are focused on lead generation. And so I just want to cover this really quickly. So a lot of this ties into what I already covered, but I want to talk about it in a prospecting scenario. So lead routing. So for your scheduling software, for Precise FP, if you have multiple advisors at your firm, I recommend creating a process. So we talked about that streamlining first. Create your criteria of how to route prospects to the right advisor. So you can automate that process in prospecting. Second piece, pre-meeting info. This is very underrated, but this is a foundational automation. So what I mean by this is, let's say someone schedules a call with you, have a workflow in your scheduling software to embed a video about the firm, embed a brochure from your company that you can give a prospect. You want to set your prospect up for success. By the time they talk about you, they should already know about your firm and who you are, and then you can focus more on their pain points and how you can help them.
I love that advice. And I would even consider whatever automation is taking place after a prospect submits their initial information. And if they're getting one email, two emails, I would even say start to double that and triple that. You know,
Hmm.
they submitted their information for you to you for a reason. So you need to give them more of that, you know, that drip that they're wanting and craving and
Yeah.
needing.
I agree. And I tell all of my clients, like, if someone's willing to take the time to book with you and fill out a form, you should give them an instant response on something in exchange. Hey, thank you for
Instant.
booking. Here's more information about our firm. You gave us information about you. Here's information about us. So just think about that as you go through your client journey. So the other piece here is I have proposal delivery. So you should be able to automatically generate a proposal after discovery. Now, I have built proposals in Precise FP where you showcase what your firm can do, how you can help your help the client. And then from there, once they accept the proposal, Precise FP has pipelines where it can automatically trigger other forms. So it could be like an agreement, a new client questionnaire that happens after that. And then the next piece is data capture. So I talked about the scheduling software. That's foundational, asking the right questions. And then the CRM entry. So making sure all of this information that you're collecting points specifically into back to your CRM, which should be your source of truth. And that's foundational as well. The challenge that I give you with prospecting at your firm is try to automate everything in your sales process except for the person on your team showing up for the conversation. I think it's possible and I know it's possible. So a lot of prospecting happens in the industry, and sometimes you get qualified leads and sometimes you get unqualified leads. So, like I said, we want to reserve that human equity where it's needed. When someone's talking to a prospect, that's when you need judgment. That's when you need empathy for the conversation. Now, what do we do next? Last piece here is your action plan for next steps. So you want to spot the slow spots. So I don't want you to think you need to overhaul everything. I'm sure there's some things that are working in your firm. So spot the bottlenecks, spot the manual tasks that's happening. Where I see this happening most is with scheduling and data collection and meeting preparation. Anything that involves the client's contribution is where I feel like advisory firms slow down. Second piece here is assign ownership. So there's no team ownership. So what I tell a lot of advisors is when it comes to technology, you need to have a primary person on your team who's a power user. So when something goes wrong, they can help the firm troubleshoot. In addition to that, you want to assign a backup person as well and cross train them. So assign ownership when you're setting up and monitoring technology. Operations is not a project, it's a function of your firm, and someone should always have their hands on it. That's where innovation happens. Third piece here is pick your next automation. Pick one automation. So I just want to hear in the chat, post the automation that you think that you're going to focus on next for your practice. And then the last piece, I invite you all to join FinOps Co-op. So if you are managing your firm's operations, I would love to talk to you about considering joining our community where there's other operators who are on Precise FP, who are using the tools that you're using, who are in their practice alone solving these problems, and they don't have another operator there. So that would be my checklist for you. If you want to schedule time with me to learn about FinOps Co-op, I invite you to schedule that conversation with me. And with that said, we have about 13 minutes left. So I would love to answer any questions, have a discussion with you about the items we talked about today.
Yeah, thank you so much. And definitely, if you had any questions that came up along the way or we didn't get to, let us know right now. But I have a question for you, Charisse, for
Mhm.
timing. Do you have any
Yeah.
best practices of that? Maybe it's hitting the end of the year, meetings are going to pick up. When would be a good time to start implementing these automations? Is it, halfway in the busy period before the next busy period comes, or is there a way to dedicate some sort of efforts toward it?
Yeah, that's a great question, Nora. So I get this question all the time. I find that most advisors save overhaul like big initiatives for the summer, but in our community, a lot of our operators follow the EOS model. where they have quarterly rocks. And so it may be, let's say you need to overhaul your client journey, your entire client journey. So Tammy said that she's going to focus on onboarding. It may be like, hey, we are getting a lot of demand and we have big seminars coming up or whatever it may be. So for year end, that quarterly rock, we're going to focus on onboarding. So it's very hard to do a full overhaul. If you need to do a full overhaul, I recommend considering bringing on like a consultant or an outsourced party who can maybe get it done quicker than your firm. But overall, I think slow and steady is good because change and changing the way you work is hard. You can implement it, but having your entire team adopt it is a bigger initiative as well.
Yeah, change is hard and it feels weird, right? Because, like, for example, if you're using PDFs to gather data and then you start using Precise FP and you don't have to implement, typing in, rekeying all that information, your time is going to free up immensely and it's going to feel weird at first. And it's kind of like, wow, what happens next?
Yeah, absolutely. I just want to answer some of the questions that are coming up in the chat. So Justin, you mentioned a technology map. Are there any tools you recommend to create this? So no tools off the top of my head. Well, there's one tool. It's not necessarily a technology map, but it helps with technology selection. So I know Kitsis has this technology map, but he has a tech stack builder.
Yeah.
I haven't looked at it in a while. I don't know if it's available still, but it should be. The technology builder, it's basically like, I use this tool. What are my other options out there? We've used that. But I also build technology evaluations. And what I typically do, Justin, as a recommendation, is think about your client journey. So when you think about mapping that out, think about, okay, your client has to go through the sales process, onboarding, and review meeting. So think about the 5 steps at a high level. So for me, I think about the sales process. You know that you need to screen them, qualify them, ask them to become a client, and then you go to onboarding. If you look at it that way, have your technology flow that way. But I would look up the Kitsis tech stack organizer to see if you can define that as well. Um, wow, a lot of questions came up when I looked at okay, let's see. How can I find an operator to hire? So Cameron, you asked, how can I find an operator to hire to actually implement this? We don't have an integrator for the practice, but finding a person who is tech forward has been challenging. Yes. So what I would say here is that, so the reason why I started FinOps Co-op was because there is a gap in the industry on um, developing operators in-house. So I think there's a good opportunity to find an operator. What I typically recommend is partnering with a recruiter, because when advisors hire operators on their own, sometimes it's challenging because you are you complement an operator. Like, you don't have the same skill set, as you shouldn't. You want to find someone that complements what you do, where a recruiter can actually have an eye for the operations expertise that you're looking for. So I would say start there. And then we don't have a lot, all the operators in our community already work somewhere, but I think, like, if you do find an operator and you want to develop them, that's where FinOps Co-op would come into play. Now, the integrator is top level. So an integrator may not be an executor or a doer, but maybe like an operations manager or an operations coordinator will be the person that can actually help you go in and build the systems, where an integrator delegates within your operations. So I hope that helps, Cameron, with your question. Nora, you just want me to keep going down the list of questions?
Yes,
Okay,
please.
perfect. So Brittany, how how to maintain your team staying consistent with workflows when there are some not as tech savvy? Specifically the advisors. Yes. So Brittany, great question. I think like what I recommend is I get to learn advisors. So I said I'm a consultant, but I also implement a lot. Like our legacy service at Level Best is implementing systems. So not only do we consult, but we implement. So I see how challenging it is for team adoption. The gap I'm seeing is that firms are so busy working with clients that they don't dedicate the time to train the team. And when it comes to the advisor specifically, I think they don't understand sometimes how to delegate properly. So like let's say there's five advisors at a company. I've seen this happen. They all delegate differently. And so there isn't consistency. And so I think it takes leadership. I read a study from McKinsey and Company. 70% of change fails because leadership's not involved. I think leadership needs to come in and lead that change. And I think, Brittany, if you are an operator, as a change agent, you have to be able to influence others. So that's another piece to create consistency. You have to influence everyone across the company to be able to adopt the change. I hope that answers your question. I'm happy for any of you that want to stay connected. I'm on LinkedIn if you want to shoot me a message. But I think that's everything. Are there any more questions that I can answer? So David said, will this recording be sent out, Nora?
Yes, yeah, it's gonna hit the shop for some editing, and then we will email it out to all the registrants.
Okay.
But
Yeah,
I'm
thank you.
sure everyone learned a lot today. I know something that we can all pick up from today is kind of a lack of innovation is what can create that burnout really easily, and you want to make sure that the burnout doesn't happen. So these tips and tricks are really helpful, even just having a template created to make those follow-up meeting items go flow right into is so nice.
Mhm.
Definitely follow Charisse on LinkedIn. Follow her on her FinOps co-op as well as Level Best. She's excellent at technology, transitions, implementation, all of that. So I know that could be a great help to everyone.
Yeah. Thank you so much for having me today, everyone.
Yeah, definitely. Great job, Cherie. Thank you all so much for your time today and have a great rest of the day, everyone. Take care.